Hello and welcome to the V2 Football Podcast. I'm your host Shane Lees, and joining me this week I've got Nick Davey.
And good day to one and all.
Richard Hero Hudson.
Good evening.
And Chris Lappin.
Evening.
Right, let's get straight into it because obviously we've had...
a moody evening then.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah.
Let's get straight into it then, and we're going to start off because it's just been an England game. England v Switzerland, we won 2-0.
Hooray!
It was a decent victory against a good side. Of course, it was probably one of the most boring games I've ever been to. But the thing I want to talk about is Wayne Rooney, because he broke the all-time scoring cap. It was his 50th goal. It was a great moment in the stadium. The second that penalty got won, every single fan was chanting Rooney's name. They all wanted him to take the penalty. So it's a great moment for him. You know, the record's there now. It can't be taken away from him. But the question I want to ask, and it's not about whether or not he will be considered an all-time great, but it's about the coming Euros. Because what I want to know is this his most important tournament to date?
I think it's probably his sort of trial tournament to see if he's going to be suitable for the World Cup. If that makes sense.
I think it probably is going to be his most important one. It's one in which, like, you look at the other big nations, and Germany have been stuttering a bit somewhat. Spain are obviously sort of in a changeover period.
Holland are in a changeover period as well.
Holland are looking likely that they're not even going to get there. They're not even going to make the playoffs.
Which is incredible, given how easy it is to qualify.
So then you're looking at other sort of possible nations of like France, Italy, Portugal, and possibly Wales, but I'm not going to blow that yet.
Talk about Wales a bit later.
Yeah.
Oh, do we have to?
Yep.
So although England aren't particularly great at the moment, nobody else is.
Well, my thinking at the moment is that at the next World Cup, Rooney will be just beyond his prime. He'll be entering into that sort of the autumn of his career where he's between his best years and, you know, entering into retirement age. And so I think for Rooney, because he's just become the top scorer...
He'll only be 32
and it's the autumn of a career, especially for a striker. Strikers can go on for a bit, but I'm not sure about Rooney how long he's going to go on for. But my thinking is, he's just got the record goal scorer title, but unlike other, you know, great forwards we've had in England, all Rooney has is that he was technically a great striker. He had masses and masses of talent. Unlike Lineker, he's not a gentleman of the game. Charlton, he doesn't have titles. He hasn't won anything at the England level. You know, there's questions about, you know, the teams he's scored against. Other forwards don't have that because they always have something extra. And for me, I think this Euros is Rooney's best chance to get a title. And if he can win a title with England, he will go down as a legend.
And he'll probably get knighted.
If he doesn't win a title, I don't think he goes down as a legend. I think he just goes down as one of our most talented players, you know, our top scorer. But in the same way that, you know, we've had a lot of players who've scored a lot of goals but haven't been regarded that highly. I think Rooney will go down in a similar route. So for me, I think it's his most important tournament because this is where his legacy is going to be made.
He hasn't progressed as well as everybody was hoping of him, because it was years ago he was mentioned the same bet as Ronaldo.
Was that? I think it's already been.
Ronaldo's gone sky high, and he's trying to stay that level. He's got to where good enough, and then he's trying to stay at that level.
He seemed to lose something from his game.
I'd say since that metatarsal injury.
You know, he had that ability to just frighten defenders, and he's still a workhorse for the most part in a match, but there's just not that magic.
He doesn't just stay in the box. It's like he's on the wing.
But yeah, he does have a habit of always dropping deep and trying to go to the ball rather than penetrating the vertical lines, which is what you want a striker to do. I mean, I was at the England game against Switzerland, and every single time he was on like the shoulder of a defender, perfect opportunity to do a run in behind. Every single time he'd drop deep and come to the ball. It's just like that's the one thing we don't need at the moment because that's what everyone's doing on the pitch.
I think that's because he should be playing in front of someone like Harry Kane.
For me,
I do always think he works best as part of the partnership.
Yeah,
I think he plays better when he's behind. Yeah, when he's in front of someone. No, I meant behind someone. And I think in behind Harry Kane would be destructive.
For me, with Rooney though, I think he hasn't lost any of his technical ability, and he hasn't lost any of his physical ability either. He is really fast, Rooney. People don't credit how quick he is on the ball, and he's very strong as well. But what I think he lost was a bit of a mental ability, in the sense that I think it has just happened to Raheem Sterling. He's lost that connect between him and the fans, him and football. That boyish thing where it's all about the passion, it's about the love of the game. Yes, you're earning tons of money, but you're still doing it because you love football. I think because of all the sort of the tribulations he went through when he was younger, when the media really went after him, and when the fans really started to turn against him, I think he'd lost that connect between the fans, the media, and the game. It then became more his job rather than his passion. And I think we saw that.
It's only idiots that really don't like Rooney, to be honest with you, mate.
I think there's a fair amount of people that don't like Rooney.
There's a lot of people that don't like. I like Rooney. I think he's an excellent player, but I'm in the camp where I don't think he's England's best ever player. All those sorts of things, but I like him. But there are a lot of people who really don't like Rooney. They want to see him fail. They didn't want to see him get that record. So
everyone wanted to see flipping Kane fail. What's he ever done wrong? I think people just enjoy seeing English talent fail.
Well, I think it's the classic thing about just about any country really, that they like to build someone up onto a plateau and then knock them down. It's
from last year. Everyone was sorry to take it away from Rooney, but I know we're talking about Rooney, but Harry Kane last year, what was he, banged 30 goals in? It wasn't a case of let's all get behind Harry Kane. It was really supporting it. It's a case of that night lads he'll die off next year. Why can't we just get behind a player and really support him and it baffles the mind. It does.
It's like that. It's the line from the first Spider-Man film. Everyone loves to see a hero, but what everyone loves to see more is see the hero fall. They like to see the hero, not succeed. It's that sort of destructiveness in people.
I thought you were going to go on about with great power comes great responsibility.
No, but
they're going to say everyone loves a villain more.
Well, people do love a villain. Balotelli's proof that people still love Balotelli. But I mean, there's a sort of self-destructiveness, especially I think in British people, especially in the sort of British mentality that it's a bit cynical. We've been a great power and we're no longer a great power, so we don't want to see people fly too high. It's almost that Icarus sort of idea. But I think for now, what I think about Rooney is the reason he never ascended to the heights he was maybe capable of was that it became a mental disconnect. Because I've never seen the ability, he's never lost the ability at his feet. He's never lost the ability in terms of a physical nature. I think it's in his head. And I think that is a crying shame, because there wasn't a lot he could ever do about it. If the entire country almost turns against you, you're not going to turn around and go, no, I still love all of that, are you?
I think you see that with, for most players that get vilified by other teams, they're still loved by their own fans. But in Rooney, it's very sort of split camps, even in United fans, on Rooney.
So, Ferguson's last season, he wanted to get rid of him.
Yeah.
So I think it's took him the best part 2 years to try and get his confidence back.
I think it was that those sort of transfer requests have always sort of left a bitter taste with United fans against him.
When he came on that time against Blackburn, it was so mixed.
I think the thing as well is you look at players from other sides that are sort of vilified by other teams, so like your Raheem Sterling's, Gerrard's, etc. They're still loved by the fans of their teams, but you've got Rooney, because he handed in a couple of transfer requests during his career at United, and sort of went against the grain really, in that you've had other players that were disheartened, like Beckham and Stam at times, were just quickly shipped out. Ferguson did all that he could and gave him the 300 grand or whatever week it is wage, that fans very much have turned against him, even amongst United.
Do you think it's maybe a case that he's a victim of modern football? In the sense that we look at the legends of the past, and they didn't have all the attachments of lots and lots of money, the selfishness, the greed. And now we look at Rooney, and he's the first sort of really, really talented English player. He's had all the other stuff, but he's also had the negative stuff we associate with modern football. Are we maybe just imparting too much of that on him, the person, rather than just the general football and culture?
I think he's made a bit of his bed that he lies in himself. He's certainly not helped himself at times. You go back to the just beginning of his career and the revelations about him sleeping with OAP prostitutes, and then whilst his wife was expecting a child. He had a threesome with another pair of prostitutes in Manchester. The bit at the World Cup where he was swearing down the camera at the fans.
On the fans, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't enamour himself well at times. He
scored that penalty against West Ham.
Worst enemy.
Do you remember that penalty against West Ham?
Yeah.
When he started yelling down the camera, but to be fair, I think that was more British media.
Okay, well, we'll move on from Wayne Rooney there. We'll talk about perhaps his successor, Harry Kane. Now,
hooray! Harry Kane, he's one of our own.
Now, England in the Switzerland game it was dire for a good 70 minutes at least, and then Harry Kane got brought on, and all of a sudden we started having some attacking intent. We had vertical movement. It was suddenly good football. We were starting to attack. We were getting some shots away. Question I've got to ask is, does he now have to start? Because without Harry Kane, is he now a certified starter for England? So without him, we just don't seem to have any real attacking commitment.
I think the problem that you've got is when's the next England game after this?
October against Lithuania and Estonia, if memory serves me correct.
Yep.
I think he needs to start scoring club-wise.
Yeah, but I still think you should be. I think like Andros Townsend, dire for club, but brilliant for England. Always seems to bloody score and put in a good performance. I think you should also take that into account. But yeah, I think he does need to start scoring for clubs. But I'm sure he probably will. Maybe these 2 goals for England can give him.
He's been very unlucky.
Confidence. Yeah, he has. I mean that chance against, admittedly, that chance against Everton in that 0-0, he should have really scored. But I think that was just, again, I think if he already had 1 goal, there'd be one where he could easily just tap it past the keeper. But I think he's still quality. I think he's class, and I think again it's going back to people getting behind him. I think, as I say, last season 30 goals, awesome season. It was fantastic to see an English player do that. And
will it have been a mistake that he didn't move in the summer?
No, I think it was too soon.
Yeah.
One more season, or even 2 seasons at Tottenham. But the thing is, Tottenham need to do stuff to actually want these players to stay, because they don't really do much. Tottenham, I suppose it's a different argument altogether. But
the thing I'm thinking is, if he moved, he'd have moved for a transfer fee above probably 40 million at the very least, probably something more like 50, 60 million, and he'd have moved to a club like Man United, where the pressure levels with that price tag and going to one of those clubs, it's just through the roof. At Tottenham, it's no one really hates Tottenham that much. There's a lot of people who dislike Tottenham, but it's not like Man United or Liverpool, where there's just so many fans who hate them.
I think a few Arsenal fans would disagree.
Well, I was going to say, and West Ham think they're their main rivals, but I think West Ham just try to think that they're the best thing since sliced bread. But
it's not quite as intense as, the likes of a Man United player or a Liverpool player. And all of a sudden, you throw all that together, and the pressure, it's through the roof all of a sudden. And especially after just not even 1 full good season, about 3/4 of a good season. I think that would have been too much for Harry Kane straight away. I think he's already struggling to deal with the pressure of thinking, I've got to be a 20-goal-a-season striker now.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I think he's just looking. I think you see him in the games now. He looks a bit nervous. Whereas towards the end of last season, he was playing with all that confidence, where he just wanted to shoot at every opportunity. Now it's like he's rushing for shots. I think we're starting to see the difference now. But I do think with the England squad, putting Harry Kane in there has just so much better balance.
And he seemed a bit more relaxed for England as well. Like the pressure was off when he was playing for England. But I just think, as I say, I think these 2 goals now for England. I mean, that one against San Marino, I know it's San Marino, but it's still a shot on goal is still, even if you're doing it in training.
Even in that game, he woke the game up. It was a bit like,
yeah. And against Lithuania, when he came off, there was a bit of buzz, and then he went and scored against them back in when was it, February maybe, or March?
March, yeah.
For about 20 seconds.
It's a thick Kane.
I think the fans seem to like him. I mean, well, obviously the majority, there's obviously a lot of bashes, but I think that's just general knobs bashing England. But I think honestly, I think
really knob bashing.
He could be quality of Rooney. I know obviously you've got Danny Sturridge in there, and Welbeck always puts in a good shift for England. But I think with Rooney behind Kane, and with I think that could really work.
Okay, well,
to fit Rooney and Kane into the side, and you'll have to change the whole new philosophy he's got. He likes the one up front, 2 wingers, and then the 3 solid midfielders.
I was going to go ahead and say England don't have a philosophy.
Well,
we don't have one.
That's the one. It's for last year since the World Cup. This the system.
Yeah, he shouldn't really do that. I think Rooney behind Kane with like Sterling and the Ox on the wings, and then have Hendo and Wilshere. That'll do all right.
I tell you what, England have preferred formations. They don't have preferred playing styles. So they play sort of a 4-2-3-1, and just sort of go, oh, it'll work.
Yeah, they play 4-2-3-1 just because that's considered
normal,
the cool formation.
Yeah. I don't think we have we don't play like 4-2-3-1 because we suddenly go, well, we've got these players here and these players here, and this has the best balance for the sort of squad we have, and we don't do it because we go, well, this is our particular playing style and this fits in most. We sort of go, most of the players that we have are playing this formation, so it'll probably be okay. I think we need two strikers. I think it helps Rooney play better. I think Harry Kane will play better with two strikers. I think both of them struggle as a lone striker, and I think Rooney's at the stage now where he can't drop back into midfield. So I think we do have to. I think we have to play both of them.
Could you have Kane up front and then have Rooney and Sterling floating around and not have the full-on wingers? Get the width from your fullbacks.
Well, if it was me, I'd go for a more traditional 4-4-2. 4-4 fucking 2.
I think the 4-4-2 it works for England.
It is
it's what most from the early ages kids play with wingers in the English game. And
I think it'll work. I think we've got the players to do it as well with Henderson and Wilshere at centre mid, and then we have Sterling and Chamberlain's on the wings, and then obviously
isn't the argument why you play three in the middles because all the rest of the countries play?
You can have Rooney drop in with them.
Well, I just think if we're talking about, because we've always said, I think we've almost all of us said it, we want England to have their own playing style. We want them to actually develop a way of playing so that can filter down through the leagues. We already have that when it's filtering down through the leagues, through the amateur levels, through the youth levels. It's 4-4-2. It's big man and little man up top. It's fast wingers. It's the way you look at any Sunday league side or anything like that. They all play that kind of football.
Oh, we don't. We played some ludicrous. We played the Christmas tree last night.
Yeah, and you just think, right? Yeah, I know it's not that fashionable, and it makes you think of. It's not fashionable. It makes you think of Mike Bassett, England manager. Yeah, I know all of that stuff. But I mean, there's no reason why a good 4-4-2 formation with good players will not work. There's no reason why that's just an inferior formation to 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3. It's about the playing style within that formation, and I think we have the players that are best suited to a 4-4-2. I just think we literally just refuse to play it because it seems very England, and I think we want to go for sort of the fancy foreign football. We're always trying to imitate Spain or Germany. We don't want to do English football.
And things are very secular as well. Like, although it's sort of unfashionable at the moment, then a formation will become fashionable in Europe, and 4-4-2 might work against that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on now. We're not moving on completely from England, but we're going to talk about Wales, because Wales have climbed to their highest ever world rankings. I think they're 8th now. They could have moved 4th if they'd beaten Israel, but no, they're 8th, and that's one place above England. Okay, so what do we think about this? Is this... let me put it this way. Are Wales the 8th best team in the world?
No.
No. Oh. Bale is.
Bale is the 8th best team in the world.
What Wales are? They're a group of who have been playing together for a long time. A group of players. They've got a good spine, and they're quite solid at the back, and then you've got Bale up front. So if you've got a solid team and a world-class player up front, it's like what Portugal have been doing for years. Just be solid. Got Ronaldo.
You look at that rating at the moment, though, and you wonder...
Yeah, but Belgium are second in the world, but they're behind Wales in their group.
I'll put it this way. Israel just drew with Wales, and Wales climbed above Chile, who had just gone and won the Copa America. So apparently, beating... Who is it? Cyprus? And drawing with Israel is worth more than winning the Copa America. Because that's what pushed them above them.
Israel have got 2 Brighton players in there, so...
But what it'll be is that... Is it 4? It's 4 years, isn't it, that it's based on? So it'll be that 4 years ago, Wales did something particularly gash, and that a draw now is considered a lot better than what they were doing 4 years ago, whilst Chile probably did something all right 4 years ago, and they probably only got a draw that took them down a bit this time.
Okay, the question is...
but if you look at the team, Hennessy's a decent keeper, and then you've got Ashley Williams is good defender.
They've got Simon Church up front. Simon Church.
Yeah, I'm saying the spine of the team is quite good. It's good. It's got Williams, and then you've got Ledley and Allen, and then you have Ramsey, then Bale, and you've just got workhorses belts around them.
I mean,
they got Sam Vokes, David Cotterill.
We could talk about the sort of the FIFA rankings about how it's all bollocks, but then again, the English have been saying that for years because we've been admitting we are not as good as we often end up getting put in the rankings. But the question is now begs being asked: are Wales the best British team? Are they better than England?
No.
Yeah, if we played tomorrow, what we?
You sure?
Yeah, we did a few years ago.
A few years ago they were like massively down the rankings. The thing
I think it was when Gary Speed.
You look at the rankings at the moment, and it's like, are Romania better than Spain?
Oh, let me think about that. Well, I can't think of a single Romanian player.
Because Romania are 7th in the world at the moment.
What?
Oh yeah, they've been smashing their group, to be fair.
Yeah, but they used to be amazing, though, didn't they? Back when I was growing up.
They had Hadji when we were growing up. That's about it. So.
I mean, the way
France, who you look at their squad coming through, is a very good squad of young players. They're currently 24th in the world.
The way I think about it is if England and Wales played a series of 5 games over the next few weeks, who would win the most of them? I'd say England would win at least 3 or 4 of those games. Wales might win 1 or 2, depending on home and away. But
England.
I would bet on England to go and win those games, and for me that makes them better. But of course, you look at the ranking system, and as much as it is just abysmal in terms of it is just not representative at all of who's the best team, there's not really that many other ways you can do it.
You can beat what's put in front of you. You need to make a system around it.
Alright, we'll move on from that conversation. We're going to move on to our last conversation before we go on to a game we're going to do. Is there anyone who we think is guaranteed a place in the Euro squad?
I think Shelvey might have played his way in. I think he played.
I think Shelvey hasn't disgraced himself at all.
Yeah, Smalling's definitely he's played well in the last two games. Shelvey.
I think the thing
I'm not sure
with Shelvey for me is that he did all right, but you look back at England midfielders, and that's a real drop in quality.
I'm not sure if he gets in the squad if Henderson, Lallana, and Wiltshire are all fit, and Carrick.
Yeah, when you had John Joe Shelvey and Jamie Vardy starting an England game.
Was anyone surprised that Butland didn't start both games?
I was surprised he didn't start against San Marino, because you don't really need a goalkeeper.
Both. Yeah, man, you don't. Yeah, but we're already through against Switzerland, so
that was for me just a bizarre selection for some of the ones up against San Marino, who are just a whipping boy, aren't they? You know, every game that they play, they're conceding 6 or 7 goals as a given.
I think they scored the first away goal for 10 years the other day, didn't they?
Yeah, that was brilliant.
So you generally think you're going to put an attacking lineup in there, and he goes and puts bloody Milner in there.
Okay,
it was a bizarre selection for me.
We talked about Harry Kane. Let's say Harry Kane doesn't have a good year, and by not having a good year, I'm talking he doesn't score any more than 10 goals across the season. Do you think he's still guaranteed a place in the Euros just because there is a bit of a dearth of strikers who are A, any good, or B, likely to be fit?
Depends on what he does for England. If he's scoring in the England games in the build-up, then...
Well, I've said...
I think that's one thing England have always missed the trick with.
I've said scoring no more than 10 goals. Let's just say it's 10 goals across all kinds of competitions. Do we still think he would be a certified in the England team? Because you think Danny Welbeck, he could have a Jay Rodriguez happen to him. He could end up, thinking he's out for 6 months and he's out for the entire year. Danny Sturridge, you never know if he's actually going to be fit. I think
Berahino going to play again this season.
Yeah, he's got the types of Berahino and Danny Ings. Can Danny Ings break through at Liverpool? Callum Wilson, can he really show himself? I think Harry Kane, no matter what he does this year,
Gary goals
is going to be going to Euros guaranteed.
What about Gary Goals?
Who is Gary Goals?
Have you not seen the posters?
No.
Apparently he's scored loads of goals and he's guaranteed to bring everyone goals.
Right.
Oh, I'll show you the picture later on.
Okay, cheers for that.
I'm saying it could be the answer to England's problems.
Just find a person that's got the surname of Goals.
All right, okay. Let's get the conversation back on point. And that back line we currently have: Nathaniel Clyne, Luke Shaw, Chris Smalling, Gary Cahill. Is that going to be the back four we have at the Euros?
Probably, but you've also got Johnny Stones knocking around. If he has a fantastic season for Everton, he could potentially do Smalling. You've also got Phil Jones knocking on the door. I think it's a bit. I think someone brought it up. I think it was Lee Dixon that said it actually before the game.
The only door that Phil Jones is knocking on is the exit one.
Well, no, I mean we had so many. We're talking about all the strikers scoring goals last year. I was like, who's going to play? But now we're talking more about. I think we've actually got a lot of good defenders coming through. So we've got good fullbacks, Klein.
But when they tend to do the squads, they tend to take two specialist left backs, a specialist right back, and then a centre back who can also play right back.
Yeah, I think it will probably be Klein.
So it could probably be Klein.
Klein and Shaw will be the definites.
You think Jones, but then Stones can also play right back.
That's true. But it's good that Klein's playing for a big club now as well, and Luke Shaw's obviously at one of the biggest club in the country, and that helps obviously. Well, it helps just obviously them playing for a big club. No disrespect to Southampton.
Yeah, thanks for that, Nick. Yeah, thanks. That's brilliant.
But they're playing for a big club now.
I tell you what, if anything's to go by from Shaw's last year, he should have bloody stayed for another year.
I was going to say, I think he seems settled now, Shaw.
Yeah, until he turns into a fat bastard again.
And you got Gazza. It's either the case of Smalling or I think Smalling or Stones are running close, but there's some good centre backs around. You've also got what's his name?
Eric Dyer.
No, and Callum Chambers.
Okay, well, we'll move on from that conversation because we could do that one all day.
I think Callum Chambers is someone that wishes he'd never moved.
Definitely.
Yeah,
but as I said,
way too soon.
We could talk about that one all day. Let's talk about your new game.
Yes, this game is called Sheep.
Is it like pointless?
No, because it's not pointless.
It's the opposite of pointless.
Yeah, for the listeners, I sent out the questions beforehand to everybody that's involved, so they're just going to be giving out their answers on the show. I explained the rules of this several times to Nick. He still managed to be convinced in his own head, which this is probably a little wonderful place in itself, that I was asking for pointless style answers when I was actually wanting family fortunes.
Oh, I thought I was going to win. I was like, I've definitely got these down in the bag.
So for one of these answers, he put Kyle Naughton. The answer is never Kyle Naughton.
I was thinking of obscure answers. I'm like, okay, let me think of backup fullbacks that aren't really.
Oh my god!
But so to explain it a bit further, I've got 8 questions. Well, they're not really questions; they're just sort of name a player of this. This was put out to not only the people on the podcast, but also the people on the V2 forum to answer. So I've actually got 11 answers.
Who did you message on the forum?
Yeah.
What did you do a thread?
No, it was just amongst a thread. I just asked for it.
Oh, okay.
So the rules are basically, I'll explain it for the first question. Name a player that moved in the summer transfer window.
Pedro.
So for the answers on that, if you answered by yourself, and nobody else said that same answer, you get 1 point. If 3 other people said the same as you, so there's 4 in total saying that, you get 4 points. It's pretty straightforward, really.
It's well straightforward.
You'd think that, wouldn't you? Okay, so the first one was, name a player that moved in the summer transfer window. Do you want to all say what you picked?
I picked Anthony Martial.
I picked Raheem Sterling.
I picked Pedro.
I picked Raheem Sterling as well. Sterling was the most popular choice with 4
Yay! How many points do I get?
You get 4 points if 4 people picked it.
What?
How many people said Pedro? Just one. Me.
2 people said Pedro.
Yep.
Trebs also, Anthony, that's on the podcast, also said Pedro. Marshall got 2 points.
Yay.
As well. Memphis Depay got 2 points, and Di Maria got 1 point.
Come back when you've got 4 points, lads.
Next question. Oh, don't you start bragging yet. Name a Premier League manager.
Lou Van Gaal.
Jose Mourinho.
Jose Mourinho.
Mourinho for me as well. Mourinho was the top choice with 7 people picking that one.
Hooray! Come back when you've got 11 points, lads.
Van Gaal was the only other manager picked. So that got
4.
4 points.
Surprised Wenger didn't get picked.
Yeah, it's just Mourinho and Van Gaal that was chosen on that one.
Yeah, because on this one, I think I went for them. I tried to go for the obscure. I went for someone boring like Mark Hughes.
Yes, you did pick Mark Hughes on that one originally.
Thinking my obscure answer was Mark Hughes.
Name a World Cup winning captain.
Bobby Moore.
Zinedine Zidane.
I went with Bobby Moore as well. Trebs went with Lahm. Bobby Moore was the most popular one with 5 points.
Oh, you did Lahm win the World Cup?
The last
Last
World
one.
Cup.
Oh, I thought Mertesacker.
That's why it was the obvious one.
Oh, I thought Mertesacker was
Lahm was second with 4 points.
Yay.
Zidane, only you picked that, Nick.
Yeah.
You get 1 point for that.
Shit.
Come back when you got 4 points, Nick. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm on 12 points in total now, so I think I'm still winning.
Cannavaro was also picked by one person for 1 point.
I was going to pick Cannavaro. I like Cannavaro.
Our games are going the usual trend.
Everyone count your scores, by the way. Make sure no one forgets the score.
So, what we're on, that's after the third round.
Yeah, Hero's got 14. Shane's
I'm on
got
12.
13. You've got 12. I've got 11.
Ooh.
I'm massive in second place.
Well, this is well tight. This is brilliant. I love this game. It's
Name
quite tight.
a championship playoff winning team.
Norwich.
Yeah, I should Norwich.
Norwich. We all said Norwich, apart from a few people that didn't. 9 people said Norwich.
Ooh,
Anthony said QPR. And Marky said Blackpool. So they both got 1 point each.
Some people are just hipsters.
So I'm on to
21.
21.
21.
Yeah, you're on 21.
Oh, still
I'm
only
not
3
on the same
points in.
points as you said. I'm on 25 now.
What?
So I'm being suspicious considering you made this game.
Yeah.
Chris is on currently 20 points. And Shane is on 22.
Shit.
Wow, thanks for that.
I don't want Shane to beat me.
Harsh.
Okay, name an MLS team.
LA Galaxy.
LA Galaxy.
New York City.
LA Galaxy.
Yeah, LA Galaxy.
Yeah. LA Galaxy. You'd think most people would go for LA Galaxy, wouldn't you?
You would, wouldn't you? But I'm
Yeah,
guessing
10 people went for LA Galaxy. 1 person went for New York City. Who was that, Nick?
Oh, that's probably pushed me out of the title race.
you said a club that has only existed for a year. What did you expect?
Oh no! I'm only on. This can't be happening. I'm only on 20. I'm on 22. I lost it at the start.
Name a player linked with United in the summer that didn't move.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Neymar.
Bale, I went for. Bale was the most popular choice.
Oh,
I
typical.
tell you what, that just shows how deluded Man United fans are. They all really thought they were going to get.
Shows how fixed this game is.
5 people said Bale.
It's corrupt.
Only 1 person said Ronaldo, which was you, Chris. 1 for Kane. Neymar got 3 votes.
25.
Only one person said Ramos, which I thought was quite surprising.
Yeah, that's just because it was obvious he was never going. That one never had legs.
Yeah, well, neither was Bale, Ronaldo, or Neymar.
Yeah, but Neymar was the most recently done one. Yeah. That was my logic.
Next one. Name a fullback.
I said Luke Shaw.
Big
Luke
Gary
Shaw.
Neville.
I was going to say Neville.
He is the epitome of the fullback.
Oh, I thought we were doing current players. Fuck it.
I said Luke Shaw.
I said Ashley Cole.
At least we all went English. We are loyal people.
Yeah. On this is where I fell down. Up until this point, I'd not dropped a point. I was joint lead. Luke Shaw was the most popular choice. Only 4 people said that.
I'm on 29 now.
Philip Lahm got 2 votes. But after that, it was all just 1 point. So Ashley Cole, Zabaleta, Leighton Baines, Marcelo.
Does Shane get 1 point?
Why did no one else say Gary Neville? Gary Neville is the fullback.
No one wants to be a Gary Neville.
Oh.
Yeah, so going into the last round, Nick's on 29 points.
Yep.
Shane's on 36 points.
Well, this is stupid.
Big up to 36.
Chris is on 35 points.
Oh.
And I'm on 41 points.
Oh.
Was that the game where I said Kyle Naughton?
It was, yes. Name a fullback, Kyle Naughton.
Even Kyle Naughton wouldn't pick Kyle Naughton.
I was going to say a bright one, but I thought that'd be because I thought I was trying to sort of hide my answers. I forget to work out what I picked.
If we were just naming obscure people, it would be so easy. Just name people who play in, like, the Conference South.
And for the last one, name a football stadium outside of England.
New Camp.
Yeah, New Camp.
Santiago Bernabeu.
New Camp.
You lot are a bunch of Barcelona fanboys.
New Camp was the most popular. 6 people picked that one.
Hala Madrid.
I'm on 35. Shit, I'm at the bottom of the league.
Bernabeu was second most popular with 4.
I'm bottom of the league.
I think I pipped you by 1 point.
Oh, I'm gutted.
I'm bottom of the league. I'm never playing this game ever
Anthony,
again in my life.
once again did particularly well. He was the only person that picked the San Siro.
I was almost tempted to pick that. Because that was the first one that came into my head.
I picked it on my pointless one.
Yeah, that was the first one that came into my head, actually. And I thought no one's going to pick that. Everyone knows Real Madrid. Oh, no.
So the regular podcasters, Anthony came last with 30 points. Nick was then second last, 35.
Oh.
Shane came midway with 40.
I'm proud of that.
Chris was second with 41. And I won it with 47.
Corruption.
Yeah, corruption. This is more controversial.
The winner, though, the game wins it.
The winner, though,
controversial than Sepp Blatter.
From the forum, Bam Bam scored 50 points. He got maximum points in every single round.
Bam
Bam bam bam.
How did Super Realist do?
He didn't take part, unsurprisingly. There you go. I hope you enjoyed that this week.
That was very cool. That was good. I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed that. Can we play it again next week, Hero?
Yeah, I'd have to pick up some questions, but yeah, I could do that.
Thank you.
I think you shouldn't be allowed to take part.
Me?
I did.
No,
I did. I have got a time-stamped set of answers that I did send to myself.
That's the Sepp Blatter school of check liability. I have checked myself and I have assumed I am correct.
I was going to say it doesn't make any sense that you're taking part.
Yeah,
but he doesn't know how many I've.
Chris won. Chris was the real winner. Well done, Chris. Okay, we'll move on from that. Now, Chris, you actually did want to speak about something. You wanted to talk to us about the green card.
Oh, just like last week you were talking about what could improve English football. And then I read that Serie B are going to introduce the green card scheme to promote fair play.
Yeah, Tell us what the green card is.
You get it doesn't really count much in it, but you get it for acts of sportsmanship. So if you kick the ball out, if somebody's injured, if you own up for diving, I don't know how that's an act of sportsmanship.
Yeah, no, that's just an act of not being a dick.
There's no in-match
so basically, you get a
reward
green
for
card for
getting
not being a dick.
Yeah, it's a gold star for if you do something right in football, which I'm just going to go out and say, I assume people should be doing things right in the first place. You don't get rewarded for doing good stuff, you get punished for doing bad stuff. That's the way it works in every single society. But I don't think this is inherently the worst idea, I just think right now it's underdeveloped. Because if you developed it properly and you said whoever gets the most green cards towards the end of the season can donate, the Premier League will donate £100,000 to a charity of his choice. A lot of Premier League footballers are very philanthropic, they'll go for that kind of thing. Or Chris suggested earlier that the team with the most green cards, that could place the the fair play table. So instead of whoever gets the least yellow cards, it's whoever gets the most green cards. So I think there's potential in it. I do think it would have to be something that wasn't awarded in the game, have to be awarded after the game, and so on. But it's not the worst idea in the world, because at the moment footballers and football clubs are not going to become good sportsmen, just for the value of it, because it's just not worth it anymore.
It's too competitive.
Yeah, there needs gamesmanship has overtaken sportsmanship, and I think it does need to start being incentivised a little bit more. And so it isn't the worst idea in the world. It's just right now it's a bit of a joke because it is a smiley face.
No,
smiley face sticker at the moment.
I care more about winning than being a good sport.
I don't actually, to be honest.
I know.
Maybe it's because I support.
We'll know next season when it's.
Yeah, I think
something I said before before the podcast started was that you get a few clubs, not naming any in particular, Manchester City, who put stars on their badges to represent great European exploits that they've had, because you have certain clubs that have won European trophies and have the badge and the stars there. So I was wondering if as clubs, once they'd collected up a number of green cards, would have little smiley faces above it instead.
A big tick saying "well done."
Yeah. And
clubs that were bottom of the table have a "try harder" written on their kit instead. Okay.
like your clubs like Southampton that are not really going to ever win anything. They could.
What is this? Just rag on Southampton Day? What is this? Now, I will say one thing. As a Southampton fan, who we have never really won anything, and we probably will never win anything, I don't value gamesmanship that much, just because we aren't really getting the rewards from it if we're not being successful. So I'd rather see my team at the moment be good sportsmen, and actually have something to feel proud about with the team. But at the moment, I think, especially with big clubs, there's no incentive for it. There's no reason to do it, especially when the benefits of cheating are so high. I mean, Robin got his team put through a World Cup qualifier, against Mexico by cheating. He admitted he cheated afterwards. He was happy to cheat. So there's too much riding on it. But okay, we'll move on from that one.
I think it's different on the content. I think they see it as playing the game.
Well, yeah, it's gamesmanship. Yeah, it's the same
playing the game well,
play.
isn't it? So
I like the fact that this has been introduced in Italy first.
Yeah.
The land of corruption and just about everything else nefarious.
What's your name if you got introduced in the Serie A and then they could pick whatever they wanted, so Juventus wanted all their championships back. They lost.
I tell you what, the only way it'd be more ridiculous if they even introduced it in FIFA. Right, we'll move on. We're going to talk about the loan system. Now, this has been quite a lot in the news. We spoke about it actually when we were talking about the transfers. We said it was surprising that just the sheer number of loans that went through. And we can talk a little bit more about it because I have got the statistics up of how many loans went through. It's 159 in the Premier League. 159 players went out on loan. Chelsea were at the top of our list with 33, so a fifth of all loans went through Chelsea. Liverpool had 16, Man City had 13, Arsenal had 12, United had 7. At the bottom was Stoke, who had no players out on loan. Swansea have got 8, Watford have got 9. So every club's loaning out players apart from Stoke. Everyone else has got above 4. Is the loan system being abused? Or is this just exactly how it was meant to be used?
No, it's how it's meant to be used.
Well, I wrote an article about this week on are Chelsea exploiting the loan system?
Plug.
And I see it as they can't be bothered. What's the word?
Developing?
Developing. They can't be bothered developing a player once he gets to 18. So they'll send him out on loan. Like they did, Courtois is a perfect example. Buying for 7 million. Send him to Real Madrid for 3 years. Comes back a world-class player. Sell your other player for 10 million. So you paid like 2 million. And you've got a world-class player.
I think the fact that what Chelsea do is that because they've got such a deep pockets for buying players, that they can just take this huge gamble on all these 18-year-olds, bring them all in, ship them out on loan to Vitesse Arnhem, etc. There's probably only going to be 2 or 3 that look half decent come the age of 21, 22. We'll keep them ones on, sell the rest. In the meantime, the likes of United, City, Real, Barca, etc., Bayern, they've not been able to get them because they've been on Chelsea's books.
But Chelsea have had £100 million worth of talent out on loan at the moment in 33 players.
33 players.
33 players worth £100 million.
And the Independent said this week they reckon about 35 million of that will never wear the Chelsea shirt. They'll just be sold before.
Well, I mean, you talked about Courtois going on loan to Atletico Madrid. And here's the thing I think about that. You send a player out on loan to Atletico Madrid and he proves himself, you know straight away, yeah, he can come back to a team like Chelsea and do it too.
Atletico Madrid, 3 years.
Yeah, but Atletico Madrid, it's a competition at a high enough level where he won the league there, he went into a Champions League final, you know he's good enough. If you're loading Patrick Bamford to Middlesbrough, it doesn't matter how well he does, he's not proving himself at a level that Chelsea can go, he can come straight into our team and do a job. So what I think is with the vast majority of these loans, and it's not just Chelsea, it's most clubs, they're loaning to clubs that these players cannot physically prove themselves at. Because unless they go out and score a record-breaking number of goals, unless Bamford went and got 60 goals in the Championship, I don't think he's going to impress Mourinho enough to say, yeah, you can maybe rival Diego Costa. I think Mourinho's going to go, we'll just go and spend 30 million.
The rule on that. It's like Harry Kane went out on loan.
Harry Kane lucked out on the fact that all of Spurs' other players were terrible and that they couldn't afford to sign someone else.
He wasn't particularly good.
Exactly. Harry Kane is
Norwich and didn't do much at all.
He's an exception to the rule in a massive way.
Beckham, he went out on loan to Preston North End.
Because now we're talking about 10 years ago. How much has the Premier League changed then to now?
But he did all right there, but he went down to a lower league club, came back, start of the season, scores a wonder goal versus Wimbledon.
With
Lukaku, they bought him for 19 million. They sent him out on loan to West Brom and then to Everton. And then he sold him for 28. How much developing did Chelsea do? And they made 9 million on.
Well, that's actually a great example. It's something that we've seen Southampton do in recent years, which is loans are no longer being used as, to supplement the squad. They're being used as an extended trial period. You take a player in on loan for a year, and you say...
Gaston Ramirez
is an example of someone who didn't cut that. Bertrand, perfect example. We took him on loan for a year. 6 months in, we said, yeah, we know he's good enough now. There was doubts about him before, because he'd obviously never done it regularly. Brought him in for 6 months, and we said, yeah, we'll sign him full term. I think that's what's happening with Steven Corker as well. I think that's what probably will happen. And so I think the loan system is being completely manipulated for something it was never supposed to be, which the loan system, as it started, was supposed to be about, you can't afford to go out and buy players, you do not have enough players in your squad, you need more players.
It's more beneficial for the Football League clubs, I think. And also, I think, for Premier League, in that sense, the Premier League clubs they've got players coming back from injury, and obviously they want them to improve their match fitness, but they want obviously the physical battles in an actual game rather than a reserves game. They'll send them out to the Football League. In that token, youngsters, Football League clubs can get youngsters from Premier League clubs, because also Premier League clubs like to send the youngsters out on loan to sort of tough them up a bit.
I just think at the moment the loan system is bad for the bigger clubs, in the sense that by and large these players are not coming back and then getting a shot in the first team, and it's bad for the players that are going out on loan, because as much as you've got examples like Beckham and Courtois, you've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other examples of players who just drifted into nothing. Simon Dawkins at Tottenham, they thought really highly of Simon Dawkins. He went on loan for about 8 years almost.
Also, Josh McCormick, he's constantly on loan from Chelsea.
Yeah, Josh McEachran, he's always on loan. He's always on loan to Vitesse. I think he's finally left and went to Brentford.
He's at Brentford now, yeah.
That's just a story that's happening time and time again. So I'm going to ask a follow-up question.
Calabar's going down that route. Paddy Bamford.
Has Victor Moses been out on loan every season?
Signed a new contract, just like Kyle Jenkinson. They've done the same thing. Signed a new contract and gone out on loan straight away. So this is the thing I'm saying: is you can send a player out on loan, but unless you're sending these players out on a loan that they can go and prove themselves at, so they're playing at a level they can prove themselves at to this team, they have no chance of ever getting back into that team. And unless there are just some catastrophic injuries, even then these clubs are more likely to just go out and spend more money. And then loan these players out again. You can't break the cycle unless you do manage to luck out and do a quarter and go on loan to another big team. So here's the follow-up question. Should the loan system be scrapped?
No, because I think I think it needs to be clamped down upon.
So severely regulated, really limited.
I think you can only send out certain amounts.
And they just get round it different ways. Like in Italy, Juventus have so many players that they've got half ownership on.
58 between co-ownership and loans.
Yeah, and in Spain, like Barcelona, they don't sort of loan out as much, but they let the players leave, but then they have first dibs on a buyback. So, in other leagues, clubs are getting round loans just in different ways.
For me, I think it could. I don't think it should be scrapped because I think some clubs depend on loans. But I think it does need to be. It does need to be a lot more regulated. For example, I think you should put an age limit on loans. A player over the age of 21, I don't know what the point is him on going out on loan. Just leave the club. You can either cancel your own contract, the club can cancel your contract for you, or you can get a transfer. If clubs are interested in getting them on loan, they're going to be interested in getting them in on a transfer.
Well, what was I saying about a month loan just to build up their match fitness?
Yeah, I think at the moment, especially for over 21s, there's no point in going out on loan anymore because that's the sign your career is not going to go anywhere with that club. I think at that point, you've run out of options then. And I think there needs to be a limit on the amount of loans a club can, because there are currently limits on the amount of players you can bring in on loan.
Yeah, you can only have 5 players at a time because we had 6 on loan last year, and only 5 could be in the squad.
Yeah, but not on how many can go out. And I think considering we have there's a 25-man squad and under 21 players do not count towards the 25-man squad. There's no worries about clubs having 2 smaller squads. In terms of injuries. So I think we need to start putting a limit on how many you can loan out to stop the stockpiling of talent. To stop the stockpiling of talent, otherwise you're just going to have a situation where Chelsea have a technical squad of over 60, but they can only include 25 of them in the first team. It's too much at that point. So I don't think it should be scrapped, but I think there should be some serious limits put in. Does anyone disagree at all?
No.
Oh wow, that's okay. We're going to move on to a conversation that kind of draws back to where we started off, talking about Wayne Rooney. And this is about the concept of legends. Now, legends in terms of the Premier League, in terms of World Cups, they're players that are by and large retired, and we look at them now and we say they were among the best who have ever played this game, or they were the best ever for a club, they were the best ever for a nation. Matt Letizia is a Southampton legend, but he was never one of the best players in the world. So that's a great example of it. What I want to ask about legends is, in the modern world, can we still create legends, or is the bar just set too high?
The problem is that you look back across the sort of generations and, would Pele make it in the modern day?
Yeah.
Pele's always sort of considered as the greatest footballer ever, but you could put him in a shirt nowadays with the level of athleticism that there's about, and it'd probably not do as well.
Well, you're always talking about players relative to the generation they're in. So Pele was easily the best player of his generation, and by today's standards, if he had been playing today, to put it another way, with all of today's training and all that lot, he'd have probably still been the best in the world. I think that's the way people try and look at it. They try and be a bit relative on it. But what I'm talking about is Wayne Rooney, for example. We've had questions about whether or not he's going to be a legend. I don't think he's going to be an England legend because I don't see him winning a tournament. And I think that would be what would cement it.
He will be a legend, I think, until somebody takes his record off him.
I think regardless of it, I don't think he'll be a legend. But that's what I'm saying.
I could see, my Joel and Richard's kids maybe looking back and, in retrospect, maybe liking Rooney a lot more than our generation.
Well, yeah, but that's because it's the only ones they remember. But you think about it now, even we still think about the players like Bobby Moore. We still think about Bobby Charlton. We've got people who have never even seen Bobby Charlton alive yet alone playing football, who still say Bobby Charlton's the England legend.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's kind of a thing that surpasses generations. I think even me saying I don't think Wayne Rooney will be a legend, I think I'm setting the bar too high, because we're trying to compare these players to the likes of Messi, and we're saying no one else is that good, so no one else can be that good. And I think we've just decided that this bar is so high, no one can break it now. And it's partnered with, everything that's wrong with the modern game. Players aren't staying at one club anymore, all this extra, added on crap that we have to add on to it. I just think today, and especially because of how hypercritical everyone is, especially, the advent of social media, I think we've set the bar just too high for legends. I think we're going to get at most one legend in a generation, the likes of Messi, Ronaldo. You think about previous years, you've got
it's more of this generation. I'd put the likes of Pirlo in there, Xavi. Both of them are a legend level for me. Philip Lahm. And not perhaps.
If you go past it, you got Zidane in the last couple of years.
Yeah, but that's a previous generation. That's almost the end of the 90s generation. That's the start of a millennial generation. What I think now is, when we're looking back at football in 10, 20 years' time, I think Pirlo, Xavi, Iniesta, these types of players, Lahm, will be remembered as being great footballers, but they will not be remembered in the same breath as Messi and Ronaldo, when I think they have every single right to be, because they are legends in their own right.
But every generation has 2 or 3 absolute legends.
But we don't compare the players of that generation to the legends. We don't. You don't. We look at the likes of Zinedine Zidane, Fat Ronaldo, Ronaldinho. We put them all in the same kind of bracket as these are all just the legends of that time. Nowadays, it's Messi, Ronaldo, everyone else, and everyone else gets forgotten about.
They're so much better than everybody.
Are they though? Maybe is that just a problem that we're comparing goal scorers to midfield creators or to right backs?
Yeah, but that will always be the same. If you list the 10 best players of all time, then 7 or 8 of them are going to be attackers.
Yeah, I know. I think there used to be a bit more of an appreciation for the level players got to. I think because we're now seeing this in this modern professional age, everyone reaches such a high caliber. We're almost saying that more of them are bad now, because we're comparing them too much to the top level, and we're not saying they're legends in their own right. I don't think there can be Letiziers anymore. Club legends, not really. Legends in any real way, because we'll always be comparing them, saying they weren't as good as this player, they weren't as good as this player. I think that kind of got missed a bit in previous generations. I think the hypercritical nature of modern football journalism, social media in football, I think the pundits in football, because it had to be so much more in depth. I think that's just made us too critical.
I think your computer games and such have a big input upon it, because there's stats there. You've got stats against every player. You know that Messi is a 95, that Ronaldo's a 94. There's these numbers that are attributed to players that have never been there against them beforehand.
Okay, so I'll ask the question again. Do we think the bar has been set too high to become a legend in modern football, or is it about right?
It's about right.
I think it's about right. I think we're very blessed in that we've in this current generation that we've had two players that could easily be challenging for the best ever player.
I think Messi probably is.
I think it's probably harder to make a club legend than it is to make a football legend.
A club legend varies. A club legend, you don't even have to be that amazing, though. You just...
It's like when we said we're going to interview Adam Virgo, the first thing you said was legend.
Well, yeah, because it's like a club legend. It's about a key goal you may have scored. It's about being a servant. It's about doing stuff off the pitch as well as on it. And it's just, that's what more makes literally a club legend. It's not about being a very good footballer, obviously.
And it doesn't even have to be at a sort of a peak of that club's power either. Because when you look back to, say, Everton as a club, in the mid-'80s was probably their greatest thing of the last 50 years, etc. When they had Radcliffe and Southall and
best goalie of all
Peter
time,
Reid and players like that there. But if you're looking at an Everton legend of the past 20 years, you'd probably
Duncan
think
Ferguson.
Duncan Ferguson.
Right, but this is the thing. This is what
Leon
I'm saying, because
Osman.
I completely agree with what Nick's just said. I think the problem is people are no longer using that standard. I think Wayne Rooney, a prime example, and maybe this does only apply to bigger clubs. We'll talk about Wayne Rooney as maybe being a legend, but in the future, if people talk about, they go, was Wayne Rooney a legend? We'll be going, wasn't as good as Messi though, wasn't as good as Ronaldo. We'll be saying he wasn't as good as these other better players. We won't be saying he was at Man United for this many years. He scored this many goals for Man United. He did this much for Man United. He did this for England. We'll be saying he wasn't as good as Messi. That'll be the comparison. So I think we're reducing it, because the bar is now it's Messi. Either you're as good as Messi and you are a legend like Ronaldo, or you're just not. You're an extra player.
I disagree with you on this. I think that that harks back to with Rooney just because of the bed he made for himself, like Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, people care too much about the person who they are as people rather than just being footballers these days.
I don't think people would compare Ibrahimovic to Messi and Ronaldo in the same way. People would just say Ibrahimovic,
overrated.
There'd be no comparisons on it, and he was of the same generation.
Overrated.
I think we're coming at this from two different angles. Where I'm coming at it from, I've looked at what a lot of people, and I'm going to go ahead and say the majority of people think about this sort of stuff, whereas you're looking at it from and I'm almost praising you here, the more informed view of saying this is balanced. These players are different players. We can't compare them in the same light. They're legends in their own right. I think most people don't do that. I don't think most people do that anymore. I think you're right about what you said about video games. You're right. I think I've got a point with what I say about the modern generation of like Twitter. I just don't think the majority of people look at it that fairly anymore. It's instant criticism. It's you've got to be the best player every single year or you are not a legend. You drop off for a year, you're not the best anymore. Harry Kane, great few months. He's the next best player for England. Doesn't do it for 4 games. People are saying he's a one-season wonder. I think it's just too much these days, too much criticism. And I think that's really affecting how players can be remembered in terms of their legacy.
Oh yeah, there's very much a short-termism with players like Gerrard last year. Like for how many seasons beforehand at Liverpool, he was legend, but he's clearly what happened to him with the slip affected him, and the form wasn't there that last season before.
Yeah, because I think he accepted it. It was his failure at Liverpool, and that's the closest they're ever going to win.
But he could have come round and recovered from that, but because the press and the fans noticed pretty quickly on in the season that his form wasn't there, they just were like a pack of animals on him.
To be fair though, had Liverpool gone on to win the Premier League and Gerrard gone to play well at the World Cup, do you think that would change the whole of his career?
Yeah, because again, it's the short terms, and people would look at the immediate achievement and forget about almost all the rest of the stuff.
Did you reckon everyone's going to base the whole of Gerrard's career on the slip, or that wonder goal against West Ham, his man of the match performance against AC Milan in 2005?
Well, there you go. There's one that's sort of against your argument a bit, Shane. That he is a modern day club legend
because he's not only served his time well, but he's born and bred Liverpool. He always wore the armband.
I think it'll come down to what's going to be shown more, that slip or all his amazing goals.
I think it's got to be his amazing goals. Whenever, like, in fact, even I know it's probably a stupid view, but tonight, whenever anyone wallops a ball on goal or sprays a fantastic diagonal pass, the first thing everyone says is Gerrard, sort of thing.
Right, but here's the thing.
It's like when kids try and do like a free kick a corner, and you go Beckham Skulls. It's just little things like that as well that make you a well-known player. Whilst
I do technically agree with you, I again go back to what I said about Richard's point. Was I think that's the informed football critics' opinion of going, we should remember all the brilliant stuff he did over the entirety of his career. Majority of people aren't doing that. Majority of people are focusing on the very immediate stuff, the last thing players did. I just think you look at how most people are reacting to these things because of the likes of... I do think Twitter plays into it a lot because everyone's just clamouring to get their voice heard.
And putting vines and stuff on.
Yeah, and so all of a sudden it just becomes about those instant one-bit moments. If Rooney ends his career winning the Euros, if he wins the Euros and says, I'm retiring from international football, I'm probably not going to ever do better than this, and he ends it there, he will be remembered as a legend. People will forget all the crap Rooney pulled throughout his career, and he will be a legend.
Rio Ferdinand's
a great example. People know he was a great player, but people just remembering the crap he did at the end and his bad attitude.
No,
some of the stuff he's saying.
Think of Rio has been crap towards the end. I think people think of Rio as that one that was just an absolute boss.
I think he was quality. Terry as well. We could be going down the Terry route. I mean, he started the season.
I think Terry's a different one that he's only had the slip in the last sort of 2 weeks, but I think he's still got a bit of grace at the moment. But Rio's very much one that in his last sort of 2 years of his playing career, there was a huge nosedive. But I don't think people will look back on him and remember that.
Well, look at Lampard. Lampard was never crap, really, was he? Even at City last season, he was probably one of their best players.
I think you're underestimating how harsh mob rule is. I seriously do, because I'm using a lot of social media examples of this. And I don't
think you can go by Twitter.
No, you can't go by Twitter, but the problem is people do. We know we shouldn't do it. We know we can't do it. Problem is everyone does do it. If you look at like any kinds of when people are looking for reactions to something that happened, what do all the newspapers go for? Twitter reacts. Facebook reacts. It's what did these people suddenly very quickly say in those few moments they decided to compose one single fucking sentence about this subject and decide they know everything about it. Twitter reacts. Here's what these people said. Look at what... go on Rio Ferdinand's posts on Twitter. Go on his posts on Facebook. Look at what the top comments are. Look at what the most tweeted things are. It's people just calling him a dick. That's what it is. It's not people going, you were a legend back in your day. You were a great player from start almost till finish, and we don't blame you for having a bad few years because you were on the brink of retirement. It's people saying, you were a dick, Ferdinand, and we don't like you.
But if you go on Twitter as sort of how you judge players, like then you'd look at Gary Lineker's career. For 20 years, even after Gary Lineker retired, everybody thought he was an absolute legend. For me, he was the greatest ever English striker.
I think he's such a legend
Twitter,
now.
The only thing you think about him on Twitter is that he shit on the floor.
What? No, he's awesome though. I mean, he's the best TV. He's so funny.
Anytime the Gary Lineker tweets, the first 20 tweets back to him was "you shit on the floor."
But he loves. Even Lineker laughs about it, doesn't he? Like,
he doesn't. He hates it.
But the problem
is that tweet to be stopped.
The problem
is that tweet last year when he goes, got a bit of, he goes, host a match of the day tonight. Got a bit of, it was something on these lines. Host a match of the day tonight. Got a funny tummy. We may see a repeat of what World Cup was it? World Cup 1998.
He blocks anybody that does it now.
See, this is the problem. What I'm trying to say is, as much as he's
a legend.
We can't just base it on this instant reaction. The Twitter narrative, the social media narrative, is becoming the established narrative.
Yeah, but honestly, I bet 75% of Twitter users are fucking retards, aren't they?
Doesn't matter. Mob rule works. It's now the instant reaction that becomes the established position. That becomes the instant reaction that journalists now focus on. They look at what people are saying and say, I've got to respond to this.
They know it's so popular that they have to use it in their media.
And the problem is it's not getting dismissed after this. We're not going, oh yeah, but that's just what a few people said on Twitter. It's the established position after that. And I think that's why, when it comes to legends, it's becoming so difficult to get a legend status nowadays, because it's all so instant criticism that anything you do wrong will overshadow any great achievement you had.
I think Christian's already brewing up a legend status at Brighton.
Gerrard slips once, and that overshadows his entire career of being a star.
I think part of that is just sort of lazy journalism, though, in the current media. It's like one of my pet hates is Vox Pops, in where like there's a news article going on about something, and it's like, well, let's just go to the street of Brentford where this one idiot is going to say what the entire nation thinks.
Yeah.
Like, no, this one idiot is not speaking for me on this subject matter.
Unfortunately, when it comes to Twitter, we decide that all these idiots are now true. I know people like us, we look at this and just go, no, they are idiots, they're stupid, and the opinions they're putting forward are stupid. And a lot of our listeners, I know, are going to think exactly the same thing. But when it comes to the established narrative, which is the narrative that happens in the media, it's the narrative that gets recorded, it's what the Twitter thing is going on now. It's going against, what we call classical journalism, where it was all about facts and information. And, it's generally trying to be looking for the good in the stuff. As much as looking for the bad, it's all about now instant criticism. That's what gets the clicks. And because that's the way modern journalism, modern media, modern perceptions are going towards, I think we're burning legend status for a lot of players who maybe should get them. I think Rooney, for example, won't get a legend status, and I think he probably should do, but I just don't think he will. So I'm just looking at things like that, and I think, yeah, I know we're just sort of lamenting the modern world here, and all modern, developments, but I think it is really starting to have a negative impact on football and on the way we sort of romanticise football in a lot of ways. I don't think we're going to remember football, this generation specifically, as well as we remember previous generations, and I don't think there's anything inherently much worse.
I disagree. I think that just because it is the current here and now, that you've not got that nostalgia built up yet. I think you go 20 years into the future and we'll look back on this and we'll think about the greats that are in the game at the current moment that aren't just Ronaldo and Messi.
I honestly hope so. But I still think 20 years in the future, whenever anyone's talking about Wayne Rooney scoring that amazing goal that won us Euro 2016, people will still be commenting on Twitter saying, well, you shagged a granny. That's what I think will be happening.
And I think there'll be actually, because of the things like FIFA, the internet, websites like Transfer Market, there's a lot more knowledge and just how many channels that have different leagues are on nowadays. There's a lot more knowledge on players from so many different far and flung leagues that actual football fans know more about football than they ever did before.
I disagree completely on that point.
Oh no, proper fans.
I still disagree completely on that point. Let me put it this way. The internet has existed for many years now. It's called the age of information, but it's not the age of information. It's the age of misinformation and shit opinions. we could have had... With the internet, we had the opportunity for an entire civilization to have access to every single book ever written, every song ever composed, everything ever humanity has ever done, and we've just decided to be a bunch of whiners. Yeah, we're a bunch of idiots, even more so because of this stuff, even though this should have been the greatest... technology ever developed. It's the same thing for football. We've got more access than ever, more information than ever, yet we're coming up with the most base, stupid opinions more than ever now. Because everything has to be composed in a single bloody sentence, and you can't say anything interesting in a sentence.
The tools are there, it's just what each individual then makes with them.
And unfortunately, again, we go to mob rule with that crap. Now, we were going to do a weekend preview, but I think that conversation went on quite a lot longer than we all planned it. So I'm just going to hand over to Chris now, who wants to do a bit of a sign-off for us.
Yeah, it's the Football Blogging Awards nominations open tomorrow. So if you're listening to this so you're probably listening today.
You've got a chance of me getting a picture of Bianca Westwood to get bloody vote.
So we got an email last year saying we just missed out on making the final cuts for the public vote. So if you enjoy our show, if you could nominate us, we'd be really happy with that. I'll put details in the description at the bottom how you can do it. Also, Anthony interviewed Jonathan Henderson, who's the academy manager and head of coaching at Bristol Rovers last night. It was a half an hour chat. They were planning to release it the weekend, so check out that. If you'd like to vote, write for our website, it's v2journal.com. If you send an article or an example piece you'd like us to read to football@v2journal.com, and we'll get it up. We're always looking for new writers. The website is more for aspiring writers who want this article showcased or their blogs showcased.
Okay, yeah.
Just like to get out to a larger audience.
Yeah, please check us out. We always want to get your opinions. Check us out on the 606 V2 as well on the forum. Get involved on that. Thank you for joining us from me, and thank you for joining us from the rest of the team.
Because Shane will probably...
Yeah, I don't like Twitter. Thanks for joining us from the entire team, and good night.
Good night, one and all. Good night.
Good night.
It was good, yeah.